Hello friends, Kelsey here from Seed and Sparrow Homestead. Welcome back to my channel. I'm bringing you along in the kitchen today. Just going through my pantry a second ago. Now that the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge is over, which I participated in for the months of January and February, I didn't purchase anything at the store. I was just using things I had in my own home in my pantry and freezers. And because of that, I'm looking through the pantry today and I'm realizing there's a lot that I need to replenish. Some of those items are things that I choose to do myself, so some homemade pantry items that I wanted to share with you all today. I try to do this whenever possible. Now I go through seasons where it is not possible for me to do all this on my own, and I will definitely go to the store and buy these things already done for me. But if I can do it on my own, I try and take advantage of that because it does save me some money. It's nothing astronomical, but in today's economy, I think anything helps and it all definitely adds up. And with these items, a lot of them are like a little bit more specialty things and pre-made baking mixes, spice blends, that sort of stuff. I find they upcharge it a lot, and I'm not about paying that extra money if I don't have to. So it definitely saves a little bit of money and saves me some time in the long run. If you are someone that bakes and cooks from scratch like I do, at some point you're gonna have to combine these things anyways, so why not do it in bulk and save yourself a little bit of time later. And it also allows me to control the ingredients. I don't have to use things that have fillers and preservatives and things I can't pronounce, and it allows me to control the quality of the items that I use. I try and use organic whenever we are able. So with that said, I'm gonna put on the screen here everything we are making today. This is just what I personally need right now to replenish my pantry. There are other homemade pantry things that I make that I don't need right now, and there are a ton out there. You can do a Google search, you can hop on Pinterest and just look up homemade pantry items. Lots of stuff out there, lots of ways to save you money in your pantry. If you are someone where these things are not new to you, you already practice doing these things, if you don't mind, take a moment and share your kitchen knowledge and wisdom down in the comments. For those just starting out, maybe looking for ways to save money and fill their pantry with good items. So any of your favorite mixes, spice blends, other ways that you have found to save money in the pantry, go ahead and drop them down there. I would appreciate that. I know it would help everyone else out too. So other than that, let's just get started on our first item today. First up is powdered sugar. I remember being completely shook that this was all there was to powdered sugar. I don't even know what I thought it was. I don't know if I just thought it was its own product, but all you need is a blender, a food processor. You could probably even use like a coffee grinder if that's all you had. And you need some granulated sugar. Now, if you are going to use it right away, you can just stick to just the granulated sugar. If you want it to be shelf stable, keep it on your pantry shelf for a little while, you want to use some sort of anti-caking. So I use arrowroot powder. It's a little bit better alternative to cornstarch. You can use cornstarch if that's all you have. So all it is for every 1 cup of granulated sugar, you're gonna add 1 teaspoon of either arrowroot powder or cornstarch, and you're gonna throw it in whatever device you're using, let it do its thing, and just wait until it is the consistency that you desire. I had my sugar and my arrowroot powder already combined. I decided to do it all at once. You can do it in smaller batches. My mixer will handle, this was about 4 cups. It took around 5 minutes for it to get to a nice powdery consistency. There you go, homemade powdered sugar. Next up, we're doing brown sugar, which is just granulated sugar again, and some molasses. I am using just some unsulfured molasses. For every 1 cup of sugar, you're gonna add a tablespoon of molasses. Just mix it up really well, and you've got yourself some brown sugar. So let's do that. So I've got my sugar and my molasses in here. I am just making light brown sugar. If you want dark brown sugar, then you want to double the amount of molasses. I mean, you can add as little or as much as you want, whatever your preference is. So I'm just going to mix this up really well. It'd go a lot faster, and you could even put it in a KitchenAid or blender, food processor. I just decided to do it by hand for some reason, so we're just gonna stick with it. And I will come back when it is all combined. All right, after a good arm workout, here is our brown sugar. Like I said, this is light brown sugar. If you want dark brown, just add in twice the amount of molasses, or you know, to your liking, to your taste. But it looks and feels just like store-bought brown sugar, and it stores just like it as well. Typically, now I store all of these things in half-gallon mason jars with airtight lids, and they will stay good for like a month or two on my pantry shelf. So there's our brown sugar. On to the next item. We have been out of pancake and waffle mix for a little while now, so we're gonna make that today. I have 8 cups of flour in here. Those half-gallon mason jars will hold 8 cups of flour. I need to add 4 teaspoons of salt, 6 tablespoons of baking powder, and 4 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm going to use my whisk attachment here. I want to make sure that all of these ingredients are really well combined before they go into my jar. So I'm going to get this guy plugged in and start it off really low so we're not making a huge mess. Super simple pancake and waffle mix going on the pantry shelf. Something else I like to have on hand is a cornbread mix. So all this is 4 cups of cornmeal, 4 cups of flour, a 1/4 cup of baking powder, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Now for my cornbread recipe, I sweeten it with honey. If you don't like honey, you can go ahead and add a cup of granulated sugar right now and mix that in with your other dry ingredients. Next up, I've got a brownie mix. This is 6 cups of flour and 8 cups of sugar. And that sounds like a lot of sugar because it is. We are not afraid of sugar, and we eat it in moderation. Like, this isn't something we make a whole lot. It's just a treat every once in a while. So I think anything in moderation is just fine. I'm okay with using this much sugar for a yummy treat every once in a while. So I've got those 2 ingredients in here. I'm gonna add 4 teaspoons of salt. I am going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder and 8 ounces of unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm also going to throw in some chocolate chips in here as well, and we're going to get this on the shelf. All right, so to the flour and sugar, we are adding 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 4 teaspoons of salt, had to grab my handy dandy kitchen scale to weigh out the cocoa powder. So we need 8 ounces. All right, I'm gonna throw in some chocolate chips, probably like a cup's worth in there. And I'm gonna stir this guy up. I wish you all could smell this. It smells divine. The smell of this brownie mix is bringing back memories. As a kid and even as an adult, we'd always go to Hershey Chocolate World. We are in Pennsylvania, if you didn't know that, and we're not too far from Hershey. So every once in a while we'd make a little day trip and we'd do Hershey Chocolate World, and we would go to Zoo America, and one place I haven't been yet, but I really want to go, is Hershey Gardens, because obviously you all know I love gardening. I don't know why I haven't been there yet, so I really want to make a point to go this year. But if you're ever in the Hershey, PA area, go check out those things and the smells. The smells are so good. All All right, now I've got 2 spice blends for you all. I just put all of my spices in like a small jar like this. I always make sure there's a little bit extra room, and then I just shake them up at the end. So the first one we're gonna do is a taco seasoning mix. Okay, for the taco seasoning, I am starting with 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of oregano, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin. And then I'm also gonna add in a tablespoon of arrowroot powder just to keep it from sticking and caking together. These are the lids that I prefer to use to store dry goods. I don't have enough today, so I'm just using some of these and just some of the rings with some old lids that I had. But I'll link these, they're really handy. So I'm just gonna shake this up. There you go, homemade taco seasoning without all the yucky stuff in it. All right, for the last thing, I am making some homemade ranch seasoning mix. So I'm gonna do 4 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of parsley, 1 teaspoon of chives. I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of dill weed, and I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of sugar. I'm just gonna mix this one up as well. It smells so good. You can just use this as a dry seasoning. You can make a dip out of it, just combine it with some sour cream. You can make a dressing and combine it with mayo and some buttermilk or just milk. So lots of versatility with this one. There you go, 7 homemade pantry items ready for use. I will be sure to include the recipes for these items down in the description for you all and how to use them. You can do this with any of your current favorite recipes. Let's say you have a homemade cake recipe that you love. You can go ahead and multiply that recipe a few times, mix all together the dry ingredients, put them in a container, and then you can write yourself a little note card or put a label on the jar with instructions of how much of the mix to use and what ingredients and the baking time. I had 7 items completed in about 30 minutes, and that includes the time to shoot this video. So if you just take a little bit of time out of your day, you can fill your pantry with better quality, healthier items, save yourself some money and save yourself a little time in the long run too. Thank you all for joining me in the kitchen today. Don't forget to drop your favorite homemade pantry items in the comments, like this video, and hit that subscribe button. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Take care.